What's up, Jaguars? Happy Wednesday. Mr. Crowder here, ready to finish off the second half of our reading from Act 2, Scene 1 of the Diary of Anne Frank. I am on page 163, and I am starting at line 106. So, Mr. Frank, offer him half, then we'll soon find out if it's blackmail or not. Dussel. And if it is, we've got to pay it, haven't we? Anything he asks, we've got to pay. Mr. Frank, let's decide then when the time comes. Mr. Crayler, this may be my imagination. You get to a point these days where you suspect everyone and everything, again and again, on some simple look or word. I've found myself. The telephone rings in the office below. Mrs. Van Dam. There's the telephone. What does that mean? The telephone ringing on a holiday. Mr. Crayler. That's my wife. I told her I had to go over some papers in my office. To call me when she got out of church. I'll offer him half then. Goodbye. We'll hope for the best. The group calls their goodbyes half-heartedly. During the following scene, Mr. Frank comes back up and stands listening, disturbed. Dussel, to Mr. Van Dam. You can thank your son for this, smashing the light. I tell you, it's just a question of time now. Margot, sometimes I wish the end would come, whatever it is. Mrs. Frank. Margot! Then at least we'd know where we were. Mrs. Frank, you should be ashamed of yourself, talking that way. Think how lucky we are. Think of the thousands dying in the war every day. Think of the people in the concentration camps. Anne, what's the good of that? What's the good of thinking of misery when you're already miserable? That's stupid, Mrs. Frank. Anne. As Anne goes on raging at her mother, Mrs. Frank tries to break in an effort to quiet her. Anne, we're young, Margot and Peter and I. You grown-ups, you had your chance, but look at us. If we've been thinking of all the horror in the world, we're lost. We're trying to hold on to some kind of ideals when everything, ideals, hopes, everything are being destroyed. It isn't our fault that the world is such a mess. We weren't around when all this started, so don't try to take it out on us. She rushes out to her room, slamming the door after her. So here we have Anne, basically just like losing it because they're arguing. Mr. Crayler is being blackmailed. We know that now. And Mr. Dussel is trying to blame Peter and Anne and Margot for the fact that they are getting found out, when in fact, I don't think there's anyone really to blame. And so Anne goes off on this rant here where she's just like, look, like, it's not our fault. We're just kids. We're not the ones that started the war. We're not the ones that did any of this. So for your assignment today, I'm looking for you guys to think about, is it right for Anne to blame the adults? Like, does that make sense? Should she be doing that? And that's your only question for today. So, again, should Anne be blaming, like, what would you be? How would you be feeling? Like, really, like, if you're in this situation and the adults are talking to you this way, how would you react? That's kind of what I'm looking for. So, answering at least three sentences, that should be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Outside of that, guys, I will talk to you later.